Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a good weekend. Hopefully, everybody's having a good Sunday. As you can see in the video here, we are painting the caliper. It's off of the passenger side. We got it primered. Got it cleaned up. The best way to clean up a caliper is I just hit it with a cleaning wheel, just a quick one of these with the metal bristles, something quick. You don't have to push real hard on it when you're cleaning it because you don't want to warp the metal or anything. You're not trying to grind it, you're just trying to clean it. So softly, when you're using a grinder wheel type deal like I use, it just screws right onto one of your grinders, your electric grinders, that it just screws right onto it. You want to make sure that you don't want to, hurt the metal or hurt the steel or anything you're doing to it. You do not want to push too hard on it because you don't want to leave scratches into the metal or anything like that. You want to keep it as the factory did it, how they sent it to you, you know what I mean? These ones wasn't pretty bad. They wasn't rusted real bad, so not on the passenger side anyways. It's all right if you get paint on this, because what I will do is take the cylinder will go up against your brake pad, of course, but what I do is I will take some sandpaper and just lightly go around the edges there to get them cleaned up, to get the paint off of it. Up here, I just put the bolt back in to the hole, so that way paint don't get down into the hole and get the brake fluid and all that gummed up when it comes through the cylinder, and at the same time it don't get your threads all screwed up. So you want to find a bolt, an old bolt that you have laying around from an old caliper. I always keep the extra bolts when I change out calipers. If I ever need to change out calipers on a vehicle, I always will take the bolts and throw them in a bin. That way when it comes time to painting certain things, I can put a bolt in there, and that way my old bolt I can clean up fairly decent and maybe get it back to the original color and put it back into the original caliper. As I know, however long I've been changing out calipers, all bolts to the calipers are pretty much the same size, especially on your little S10s and Ford Rangers and stuff. Pretty much all the caliper bolts are the same, I think. So like I said, anytime I change out calipers, I will keep certain things off the caliper and throw it in a bin, and that way I can, when it comes to painting something, I can just screw it down into the caliper and keep the calipers nice and clean. And then the bolt, I will either touch up paint to match the caliper, or I will just clean up the bolt the best as I can with some kind of brush or sandpaper or something, and then stick it down in to make it kind of fancy looking. Other than that, we're just waiting for the paint to dry, the primer. The best way to check to see if primer is dry is to kind of use the back of your finger and just to see. And right now it's pretty dry. So here in a second we will go ahead and put the green on. I will show you a quick video why I have this going tonight, to show you how I start painting a caliper. You can use any kind of paint. I just normally use any kind, but there is paint out there that you can use for just strictly calipers. Right now I just use whatever I used on the truck. Right now I just shot the whole truck with out of a paint can. This is just the base coat. And then I will go over top of this green. It might not be the correct way, the way the professionals do it, but this is how I'm going to do it. Is I just painted the whole truck green, and then I will come back over top of the truck, wet sand the whole truck down. I will wet sand it down, and then I will paint it out of a gun. I will actually get a gallon of green and then paint it out of a gun. So hopefully here in a couple years the truck will be painted the proper way. But like I said, I will paint it out of a gun and stuff like that. So, but other than that, it might not be the correct way, but it's my best way I can do it on a budget build. So I don't have thousands of dollars to go out and get a truck painted for $1,200, $1,300, $4,000 paint job, a car show paint job. So I'm just doing it out of my garage. So I don't care what people say. I don't care if they leave comments saying, hey, you're doing it completely wrong. That's fine with me, because I really don't care. As long as I'm happy with it and it looks good, that's all what I care about. As you can tell, we already went ahead and stripped this side down so we can put the new A-arms on. So I will be doing it sometime this week. Got the frame painted, ready to go for the new A-arms to go on. Now, I notice on this side, the problem I had on this side of the truck, on this side of the truck, on the passenger side, I did have a slight problem. So I'm going to have to fix that problem. And that is, if you look right here, see this bolt? Over here, there is no bolt. Well, what happened is, I'm assuming someone had this truck tore apart, or they was in a hurry and to put it back together because it was sitting in weeds and they just wanted to sell it. And of course, I'm the dummy that bought it. So now I'm in the process of making the frame look a little bit better and getting all the rust off of it. But as you can tell, there is no bolt here. Well, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but right here, that's where the bolt hole is for that bolt. Well, on the back of that bolt, there's supposed to be, let's see if I can find it here. This is the bolt. It was in there. I don't think it's the original bolt. It goes in there because if you look at the other bolts, the nut on top is a little thinner, like a little narrower. And then you had this piece, it goes over the bolt. So that way when you're trying to take the nut off, it won't allow the bolt to spin, if you know what I mean. So this, let's see if I can do this here. So tackling this, hopefully I don't get you guys dizzy. Tackling this bolt here, supposed to go into something like this, right? Well, whoever had this apart before, this was actually laying on the frame of the truck. It was actually so rusted, it rusted itself to the frame. So whoever had this truck apart, they ended up throwing a bolt, I think, in it. And instead of buying a new one of these, they ended up just putting a bolt in there and screwing it down and holding it with the socket. That's how I got it apart. But as you can tell, this bolt is pretty much gone. The threads on it, either I'm going to have to put new threads on it, or I'm going to have to go out and buy a new bolt. And I think what I'm going to do is go out and buy a new bolt, and hopefully I can buy this piece with the bolt also. So hopefully that will fix the problem I have, so I can put the A-arm back on. But other than that, that's the only issue I had on that. So just fair warnings, if you're ever working on a 84 S10 or a newer S10, the round body S10s, just be careful and watch those bolts. So you're either going to have to replace it if you have an issue like I did, or I also was told just to stick the bolt back in. If the threads are good, stick the bolt back in and tack weld it in there. Well, the bolt is bad, so I'm just going to go ahead and replace it the correct way, so I don't run into that issue again later on down the road when I have to tear this truck completely down to bare frame. And that will be hopefully here in the next 2 to 3 years. I will strip this truck completely down to the bare frame, have the frame sandblasted, and I can put a nice coat of paint on it and kind of make it a show frame pretty much, and build it from ground up. So as of me driving it this year, we are just going to just add new parts on it, so when it comes time to strip the truck completely down to bare frame, I don't have to buy nothing. I can just pull everything apart, paint it, redo it, and put it all back together. So, because as you can tell, I got some body work to do right here, so we're going to do some body work before the truck leaves the garage this coming up summer. So hopefully all that is, try to get the phone to focus here. Hopefully I can get that stuff done. Then I gotta get the spring. I'm going to end up putting air ride on here. So right now I'm just cleaning up the springs and throwing them back up underneath for temporary. We did get that little guy. We got him painted last night, so he's ready to go back on. Pretty much this truck's ready to go back together as soon as I get the caliper painted. So right now we are going to try to paint the calipers. And the one thing about this green is, I'm going to try to lay you guys right here somewhere so you guys can see me paint. So right now, as you, I just dropped you all on the floor. So right now, as you guys can see that we are just going to use just this kind of paint right here. Nothing big, just a can of it. I know it's for engines, but it is what it is, and I don't care. But this is what I use. This is what I'm going to use. I understand. Like I said, I really don't care. It's not for calipers. I know there is paint out there that are strictly for calipers. But why pay $17 for a can of paint for just calipers that peels off? It's literally like rubber. You just peel it off. If you don't like it, you peel it off. That's why I don't buy the caliper stuff. And I'm pretty sure there are paint out there for calipers that is not rubberized, but this is a budget build. This ain't no multi-million-dollar build. This is just a budget build. This is what's just laying in my garage. This is the stuff I used in the past. This is the stuff for $5-10, you know. So I really don't care. So, the way I do stuff is I will spray underneath first and then work my way to the top. Just like so. And honestly, it don't need to be perfect. Not on my truck anyways, because for the simple fact, the rims I'm running on my truck, you really won't be able to see these calipers because I think they're either 80 to 100 spoke rims, I think. I'm not 100% sure on how many spokes there is, but only reason why I'm painting them green is for the simple fact my spokes in the center, the spokes part, are black, just in case that you can see the caliper. I wanted the caliper green to kind of blend in with the black, to kind of go with the black accents I'm using. So other than that, it all looks good. It came out looking nice. So I think it looks good. It looks good for government work, they say. Like I said, I'm not making a show truck, even though I do go to car shows and stuff like that, but I really don't go to the car shows to win a trophy or any. I don't enter into the car shows. I just park in the car shows so people can take a look at it and see the work and the dedication I put into the truck. Even though some of my work's not the best and not a professional, but I like to show the truck so the little kids can see the truck, and it's also a bright color, and I just like going to look at the other cars, and I just like parking the truck in there so people can admire the work I am putting into the truck. So when I do go, the tailgate's primer, there's some primer spots on the truck, there is, stuff I do here and there when I do have the extra cash laying around to do this.